This image shows the cross-section of a dicot root. The epidermis is the dermal tissue. Epidermal cells produce root hairs. The ground tissue of root includes cortex, endodermis, and pericycle. In the root, the cortex is involved in conducting water from the soil to the xylem vessels of the vascular tissue. The endodermis is a cylinder 1 cell thick that forms a boundary between the cortex and the vascular bundles. It contains the Casparian strip, which allows only water and certain dissolved nutrients and ions to enter the vascular system. Pericycle is found just inside of the endodermis. It is responsible for the formation of lateral roots. This image shows the cross-section of a dicot stem. The dermal tissue is the epidermis. The ground tissue include the pith and the cortex. The central pith region is a storage area, and the turgid fluid-filled cells of the cortex and the pith offer support to the plant. This image shows the cross-section of a leaf. The upper and lower epidermis are dermal tissues. Guard cells are specialized dermal cells that control the opening and closing of the stomata. The epidermal cells of leaves secrete a waxy substance that forms the cuticle, which helps reduce water loss from leaves by reducing evaporation. The ground tissue of the leaf are the palisade mesophyll cells and the spongy mesophyll cells. The palisade mesophyll cells are located immediately below the upper epidermis. The cells are tightly packed and they contain many chloroplasts. The spongy mesophyll cells lie below the palisade mesophyll layer. The cells are irregularly shaped and loosely packed. Cells in the spongy mesophyll also contain chloroplast, but at a lower concentration than the palisade mesophyll cells. The vascular tissue of the leaf runs throughout the leaf, connecting the leaf's vascular system to the stem's vascular system. Water transport in plants. Most of the water entering a plant comes in through the root hairs by osmosis. The cytoplasm of root hairs contain many dissolved solutes, so it is more concentrated than the water in the soil. Therefore, water enters root hair by osmosis. In the root, water passes through the epidermis, then the cortex, then it enters the xylem, which is the water-conducting tissue of plants. There are 4 factors that are responsible for the movement of water from the roots to the leaves of plant. The four factors are root pressure, adhesion, cohesion, and transpiration pull. Water entering the roots create a pressure called root pressure that tends to push water upwards a plant. Transpiration is the evaporation of water from the shoot system. It exerts tension on the water in the xylem vessels, pulling water from the roots to the leaves of the plant. This tension is called transpiration pull. Water molecules form hydrogen bonds between one another. This is called cohesion. As you can see in the image, water column is held together by cohesion. Hydrogen bonds also form between water molecules and the sides of the xylem vessels. This is called adhesion. Cohesion and adhesion maintain the columns of water in the xylem, created by transpiration pull and root pressure. Mineral movement in plants. There are three factors that allow mineral ions to move from the soil to the xylem vessels in roots. The three factors are diffusion, active transport, and aid provided by fungal hyphae. Diffusion occurs when the concentration of mineral ions is higher outside the root than inside the root. The minerals are dissolved in the water and move with the water into the root. Active transport occurs when the concentration of mineral ions is higher inside the root than outside the root. Energy is required for active transport. Fungal hyphae sometimes form a cover over the surface of young roots. This creates a larger surface area for water and mineral absorption. The mutualistic relationship between fungi and some roots is referred to as mycorrhiza. Movement of organic molecules in plants. The leaf is the source of sucrose. Sucrose enters the phloem in the leaf, increasing the concentration of sucrose solution in the phloem. Water moves from the xylem to the phloem because of the higher concentration of sucrose in the phloem. This movement of water results in an increase of pressure in the phloem. Now, the root cells and tissues of the stem are sinks for sucrose. The pressure at the sink is lower than the pressure at the source. This pressure gradient causes a flow of solution through the phloem from the source to the sink. Sucrose is removed from the phloem by tissues in the plant stem and root, reducing the concentration of sucrose in the phloem. Xylem recycles the relatively pure water by carrying it from the sink back to the source.